Is Elic Ayomanor one of the best wide receivers in this draft class? Find out as we go over his analytics. So, in today's episode to the All Pro Football Data Show, we are going to be taking a look at 6 main metrics to evaluate Ayomanor based on market share analytics, efficiency analytics, age and competition analytics, advanced receiving analytics, down and distance analytics, and then advanced market share analytics. We're going to go over a lot of stuff, but it's going to be quick. And then we're going to get to my general conclusions about him as a prospect, as a data analyst for over 10 plus years. So let's get to the video. So first up, market share analytics. So we're going to take a look at his market share analytics, taking a look at his receiving market share, total offensive market share, and then touchdown market share. Based on all those numbers, he had pretty much about an 89 percentile score in terms of his receiving market share, 93 percentile in terms of total offensive market share, and then 86 percentile in terms of touchdown market share. All those numbers are fantastic numbers for him to have. You know, when you look at the All-Pro averages, the Pro Bowl averages, the starter averages, and this is based on data going all the way back to the 1969 NFL draft class. So this is the keys. This is what it takes to be a really special player based on market share data. And he fits within that criteria. He's fitting there, you know, and this is data that has stood the test of time. You know, this is information that has whatever area you go to, you can look at market share data to find the best player or some of the best players using that data. So, very important number, and he hits all the numbers here. Then, of course, when you get to efficiency analytics, so one thing that Ayomanor does really well is his yards per reception. He was about in the low, maybe I guess high 70 percentile in terms of that particular number. Touchdown market share, touchdown percentage, I should say, was slightly below average. So that's one thing that's kind of a misconnect or disconnect in terms of his data is the fact that he doesn't have a lot of touchdown production from a per snap basis. So that's kind of the big thing with him. So he made up a lot of his team's touchdowns, but when you look at the touchdowns per touch, not the best. So that's kind of the big disconnect with him. When you get to age and competition adjusted analytics, this is where he does really well too. Great age score, great MSA rating, great pass rating. All those numbers are exactly where you want them to be in terms of potential All Pro, Pro Bowl type of wide receiver, which I think he definitely has a chance to be considered one of those categories when he comes up into the NFL. Then we get to advanced receiving analytics. So this takes a look at a sample from 2009 to 2024 based on data from collegefootballstats.com. Here, again, the TD percentage also comes up again. So low TD percentage, high first down conversion percentage. So he is very good at getting first downs. 15 plus, so percentage of his catches that were 15 plus yards and 25 plus yards was below average. So he's somebody that, and you even see this on film, where he's more of a closer to the line of scrimmage type of player. It's not to say he can't make big plays. It's just his usage, which sometimes they don't have any control over. He was kind of being used closer to the line of scrimmage at Stanford and wasn't consistently, in terms of the plays that he had, you know, in terms of the receptions that he didn't have a high amount of 15 plus, 25 plus plays when he was there, which can be concerning a little bit because, you know, the average is about 55 and 56 percentile respectively for 90 to 99 percentile wide receivers at the NFL level. And that's for wide receivers based on their approximate value, by the way, for that number. But, you know, based on that, you know, again, getting first downs, fantastic at that, you know, 74 percentile, which is great. But looking at TD percentage, the 15 plus percentage, you know, percentage of his catches that were 15 plus, a little lower, 25 plus, a little lower. So that's kind of the big thing with him. Then you get to down and distance conversion analytics. This is where he's solid. So third down situations, 53 percentile. That's at least above the average for most starting NFL wide receivers or better. When you look at second down conversion rate, 87 percentile in terms of getting first downs on second down, in terms of his percentile score. So these are not like the percentages. This isn't like, well, 53% of the time he didn't know. This is the percentile score. So this is taking his conversion rate and then comparing it to other wide receivers in the data set. And then, of course, when you get to first down situations, 49 percentile. So he's about within line of what most NFL wide receivers typically do in terms of converting, on in that situation there. So that's kind of exactly where he is. Then, of course, we get to advanced market share analytics. So this is a new metric I am doing this year, which I'm going to refine it a little bit more, but this is kind of a rough sketch of it. And essentially what this is it looks at the market share on the team for advanced statistics. So first downs, who had the lion's share of first downs on the team? Who had the lion's share of 15 plus yard plays on the team? Who had the lion's share of 25 plus yard plays? And what you'll see is that even though Ayomanor didn't have a high percentage of his catches going for 15 plus and 25 plus, he made up the vast majority of those plays. So it's good. It means that some of this has to do with the offense he was around. It means that it's not necessarily his fault that he didn't have more 15 plus, 25 plus yard plays. He just happened to play in an offense where they didn't really have a lot of those plays. So, he represented that he was the majority of the offense when it came to those big plays down the football field. And of course, first down, getting first downs, 93 percentile in terms of that. So compared to other wide receivers, he was 93% better in terms of being the team's leading first down conversion guy as a receiver. So, that is a good number for him to hit, and it kind of shows his data, in terms of some of the concerns shouldn't necessarily be concerns 100% because it's the offense was kind of holding him back a lot, whether it was a quarterback or the offensive scheme. Those things I think probably played a role in him a little bit. And lastly, the conclusion. So I think Elic Ayomanor, he's a big, strong possession receiver with an ability to have near elite market share analytics. He has that ability, in terms of his potential. But his below average TD percentage and inconsistent ability to stretch the football field is a cause for concern until you look at the market share data to kind of give you more perspective. So, for example, his TD percentage is a lot lower than other wide receivers, and this is again a per snap basis. But when you look at the market share, he made the majority of the touchdowns for Stanford. So he had a low TD percentage, but he also had the most touchdowns for Stanford, which again kind of tells you something. It tells you that, okay, he didn't have a high amount of touchdowns per snap, but it could have been the offense he was playing. He wasn't in a very prolific offense at Stanford. So that's going to affect those things there. Secondly, in terms of big plays, 15 plus, 25 plus yard plays, didn't have a high percentage of those on a per snap basis compared to other wide receivers in the data set. Well, when you look at the market share, he made the vast majority of 15 plus, 25 plus yard plays in his data. So this can kind of give you the information that you need to go, yes, there are some concerns in his data. Yes, there are some things that you would like to be different in terms of him. But this is a young, very productive wide receiver for the situation that he was in, who made up the majority of the touchdowns for Stanford, who made up the majority of those big plays for Stanford, which gives you the idea that again, this is the only thing they had. One of the few things they had in terms of generating big plays on offense and getting touchdowns on offense was him through the passing game. Um, so compared to other wide receivers and other offenses, so that is a big plus for him. So I'm excited to see what happens with him. I would say the best comparison for Ayomanor might be like a Mike Williams from Clemson, We'll see how he tests, in terms of his athleticism as well. But he's a solid wide receiver prospect, guys. As a possession receiver, I think there's a lot of things to like about him. And we'll see what else happens. So with all this stuff out of the way, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.